Hey, something that I have been dwelling on as of this last week has been this idea that a friend of mine mentioned, is that we oftentimes take God's grace for granted. And not even that, but if we think about it, sometimes we take the grace of other people for granted, or we allow other people to take our grace for granted. We continue to give, and sometimes other people will take advantage of that, and then we're burnt out, we're overwhelmed, we're stressed because we're pouring out of an empty cup, because we're allowing our grace to be taken for granted by people who don't respect us, they don't appreciate us, and again, they're taking us for granted. They are takers only, and they don't pour back into us to fill our cups back up. But in regards to the Lord, think about it. Sometimes we allow ourselves to get too busy. We allow ourselves to be consumed with whatever it is that we have going on. And then at the end of the day, sometimes I remember, man, I haven't read my Bible at all today. And it's that moment of guilt, and then also that moment of remembering God's grace. Not that I can always wait until the last moment of my day, because I know that God is just going to give me grace and He's just going to honor the fact that I am reading my Bible regardless. No, because the Bible tells us to give God our first fruits. And that doesn't just mean first fruits in your money or your finances. First fruits in your time. First fruits in your energy and your efforts. Give God your first, because He gives you His best. And as far as God's grace, I wanted to read to you 1 Corinthians 15, verse 10. But by the grace of God I am what I am, and His grace toward me was not in vain. But I labored more abundantly than they all, yet not I, but the grace of God which was with me. We are the way we are. We have what we have. Everything that we accomplish is not by any merit of our own. It is simply and totally because of the grace of God. Yes, we work hard. Yes, we put in effort. But it is nothing that we can do. It is not by our strength, not by might, not by power, but by His Spirit, His grace, His loving kindness toward us, that He wants to bless us, He wants to give to us. And we cannot be so consumed with continuing to level up, with continuing to achieve things, with continuing to bring things in, to have things that we can physically see, materialistic things, that we take His grace for granted. We cannot get so busy being in the world, doing and being and living, that we push Him to the back burner, again, taking His grace for granted. And then when we feel like times are getting tough, that's when we want to say, oh, Lord, let me read my Bible every morning. Let me fast. Let me pray. No, that is taking God's grace for granted. Do not wait until you are suffering through something or you can't figure something out to call on His name. That is taking His grace for granted. The Bible says that His grace is sufficient for us. But that does not mean that we just grab it when we need it. It doesn't mean that we just take. We don't want to be the same people that take from us and abuse our grace, our kindness, our giving spirits, our forgiving spirits when people continuously hurt us. We don't want to be those same people when it comes to our relationship with God. The Bible says also to be imitators of God, just like little children. And if you think about that, little children do what you do. They make the faces you make, and they laugh how you laugh. If you dance like this, they're going to dance like this. That is what we are supposed to do when it comes to being in the likeness of God, imitating His character. So yes, We are supposed to give grace. Yes, we are supposed to be kind and forgiving, and we are supposed to exhibit all of the fruits of the Spirit. But we are not to allow other people to abuse those things. We are not supposed to keep pouring until we have nothing left. And we are not supposed to do that when it comes to our relationship with God. We have to give to God just as much as He gives to us. You return that by giving Him the glory, giving Him the honor, giving Him your time, giving Him your first fruits, your tithes and offering. Praising Him, praying to Him, worshiping Him in good times and bad, because we never want to take God's grace for granted. Ain't that right? So that is all we have for you today, featuring Little Miss Kalani. And I hope you all have a great day.